Okay, we're live.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Ameen. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. We are beginning, or continuing rather, our discussion on the eighth word. This particular word, for many of you who have been consistently part of this conversation, have been following the story or a parable of two individuals, a parable or a structure that we've been familiarized with since the beginning of these readings, especially in the words, where the author will set up a parable or a scenario of two individuals representing two ways, two perspectives, two understandings of the same thing, or of one thing, of a, as I might say, a singular reality, but two possibilities that exist to the human being or to the human mind on what they represent to him and where he situates himself in them. In this particular parable, there are again two parts. One describes a treacherous, difficult, anxiety-ridden journey of seeing things that are constantly inducing some sort of fear and unsettling in an individual. And there seems to be no solution or end or resolution to that experience. It's chaotic, it's unpredictable, and there is a helplessness, clear helplessness embedded in that scenario. On the other side, or perhaps not on the other side, but another perspective is that all of those things seem to be fitting into a larger order of a consistent, unified meaning presenting a singular reality. Things seem to be confirming within of themselves and in relationship to each other, of a single reality to the individual, and there is nothing that is unexplained or meaningless in this perspective. And we are nearing towards sort of the latter half of this section, where the author has moved us through the parable to now unpacking it for us. I should remind ourselves that the section had started out with a verse, "There is no God but God." I have to go again and check back, but it is a very helpful reference. God, there is no God but He, the ever-living, the self-subsistent, and these are the references for it. And subsequently, verily, the religion before God is Islam. It is helpful to think about this parable as a way of explaining and positioning the meaning or the methods with which we should approach or understand the meanings contained within these verses. And as we'll discuss today or read this section today, everything in this verse corresponds directly to something, some element of the parable that we've read. So we will go on beginning with the part that is highlighted here, but I might, in our discussion, I think things that our friends in previous sections have very helpfully and very beautifully explained will seem to recur. And I hope that we can all help each other sort of enrich this discussion. I, for one, intend that reading this word, though at times sounds to me or can sound to me as if I've heard these things before, as if these are being repeated, I intend to try and break that sort of cycle in my mind that this is something that I know and something that is not is something that is not presenting a fresh perspective every time. So I intend to challenge that assumption in my own mind and try and get into the deeper elements as the author will try and claims to sort of share with us. I invite everybody to help sort of uncover that for each other. So with that, if there are no comments or concerns, we can go ahead. And today, it's a nice small cozy group, and so I hope that things can be a little more engaging. So Bismillah. O my soul, and O you who is listening to the story together with my soul, if you do not want to be the unfortunate brother and want to be the fortunate one, listen to the Quran, obey its decrees, adhere to them, and act according to them. If you have understood the truths in this comparison, you will be able to make them correspond to the truths of religion, the world, man, and belief in God. I shall say the important ones, then you deduce the finer points yourself. So look, of the two brothers, one is a believing spirit and a righteous heart. The other is an unbelieving spirit and a depraved heart. Of the two roads, the one to the right is the way of the Quran and belief in God, while the left one is the road of rebellion and denial. The garden on the road is man's fleeting in human society and civilization, where good and evil and things good and bad and clean and dirty are found side by side. The sensible person is he who acts according to the rule. Take what is pleasant and leave what is disturbing and turbid, and goes on his way with tranquility of heart. As for the desert, it is the earth and this world, and the lion is death and appointed hour. The well is man's body and the time of his life, while its 60-yard depth points to the normal lifespan of 60 years. And the tree is the period of life and the substance of life. The two animals, one white and one black, are night and day. The dragon is the road to the intermediate realm and pavilion of the hereafter, whose mouth is the grave. But for the believer, that mouth is a door opening from prison into a garden. As for the poisonous vermin, they are the calamities of this world. But for the believer, they are like gentle divine warnings and favors of the most merciful one to prevent him slipping off into the sleep of heedlessness. The fruits on the tree are the bounties of this world, which the absolutely generous one has made in the form of a list of the bounties of the hereafter, and both as examples of them and warnings and samples, inviting customers to the fruits of paradise. And the tree producing numerous different fruits, despite being a single tree, indicates the seal of the internally besought one's power, the stamp of divine dominicality, and the signet of the sovereignty of the Godhead. For to make everything from one thing, that is, to make all plants and fruits from earth and create all animals from a fluid, and to create all the limbs and organs of animals from a simple food, together with making everything one thing, that is arts like weaving a simple skin and making flesh particular to each animal from the great variety of foods that animals eat, is an inimitable stamp and seal peculiar to the ruler of pre-eternity and post-eternity, who is the single eternally besought one. For sure, to make one thing everything, and everything one thing is a sign, a mark peculiar to the Creator of all things, the one powerful over all things. I'll pause in this after this long paragraph and point out things that uh, are caught my attention, the things that I feel perhaps would be, as I said, relevant to refreshing our perspective of something that we, or at least I think I am been sort of reading in very similar ways throughout. Um, so first thing is very clear that when we were reading this parable, it was as all the presenters had highlighted very clearly and emphasized this very important aspect is that the parable for a parable in this case overlays onto our experience that this two element of like these two possibilities exist within us, within our sort of mind. Um, the fact that we can look at a single thing and think about it in two different ways, essentially two different ways. Those two different ways being um, understanding what the nature of that thing is. Um, For example, you can look out at a tree, and the two essential ways that you can um, say anything about this tree is one being whether it is something that explains itself, where its molecules, its constituent parts are in total control, power, have all the knowledge and will to govern it from coming into existence to being sustained. So so that when someone is looking at the tree, everything about that tree is encapsulated within the existence of it, and everything is explained within it. um, or one can look at the tree and say everything about this tree, its existence, what it is, its sustenance, its qualities, everything is not of itself. It's not coming from within itself. It is not of the same nature of itself, but rather is a manifestation of something other than itself. So that this sort of, you could say, uh, process of maybe reasoning is present within each soul, within each scenario, with pertaining to anything within that exists. And so this parable is essentially a more clear or discrete or uh, you could say tangible way of expressing this, what could be understood as a very um, um, you know, abstract experience, not an abstract experience, but an experience that is just happening in, you know, one's mind within themselves. And so this parable, or this way of presenting the information, demonstrates that this is part of our lived reality and not something that is just a figment in our understanding, but rather something that we are experiencing both within ourselves and outside of ourselves. So that is immediately sort of clear, that there is a representation. This parable represents our way of, to us, of applying or translating what is a possibility that we have in our mind to exist also outside of the world, the world in the way that we are experiencing it. I say this, or I'm attempting to sort of highlight this again, is because of the importance of reading scripture or words of, in this case, a being who claims to be the owner and creator of this universe. Um, those two fall in the same sort of method or experience. Um, so the parable explains the verse, and the verse and the parable and our life um, are operating um, in the same vein or in the same experience. And that's something that we read from the author in this first paragraph, that everything about that parable relates to the verse and relates to our lived reality. Um, as it says, like, you will be able to, the truths of in this comparison will be able to, will you will be able to make them correspond to the truths of religion, world, man, and belief in God. If there is anything unclear or contentious or especially unclear about it, please feel free to um, help me, um, present it in different words or add things. But I just wanted to establish for us in this discussion that um, the existence of the parable, or the experience in the parable, is applying or is mirroring our experience of the world. And the two people are essentially our inner experience of using our faculties to make understand what we are experiencing, make sense of it. Um, and the truth in the, or the truths of religion, the world, the truths of religion in this, to me, were applying to this idea that um, that there is something. Let me reframe this. That there is a single reality outside of us, and how do we make sure that out of the two, which one is going to be consistent with it? Like, how can I make sure my process of understanding, making sense, giving meaning is consistent? How can I be certain that it is consistent with the reality that exists? but is not just something that I imagine in my mind because of an error or a mistake in um, understanding the true nature of things. And that's where many of the things will relate to things primarily that are mentioned in accordance with guidance, with um, concepts of um, being, what is it like, uh, this acting, your decisions in interacting with those things is governed or influenced or drawn from needs to be drawn for something in order for you to be sure and be certain that this is in fact consistent within my reality, my lived my in within my soul and outside uh, in my living experience or lived experience. Um, so I feel like the author really does make very things very explicit for us, making very many direct comparisons between the parable and concepts such as the Quran and belief in God. Of the two roads, the one to the right is the way of the Quran and belief in God, while the left is the road of rebellion and denial. So one road is being is consistent within your understanding and your reality, and it is being confirmed by the one who, in this case, claims to be the creator of this universe. So there is a consistency and confirmation within yourself, outside of yourself, and also something that is um, given to you, claiming um, to satisfy and answer this contradiction for you. So there is a consistency there. And the other one is the road of rebellion and denial, saying that it is the road in which you can, within your own self, conjure up your own reality, imagine something that has no manifestation, reality, or confirmation except for within your own sort of thinking. So that's the only where place it may exist, um, and there is no other, um, you could say, manifestation or proof of this existing, and it is something that you can choose to continue to believe in, but it has no other um, reason to be believed in other than um, um, some sort of attachment that you have to it. So something that um, something that just exists within your own frame of thinking. Um, and the garden on the road is man's fleeting. Um, Maybe what I'll do is I'll highlight the parts that I think I we want to perhaps shed some light on further. There was a discussion of good and evil on the previous page and in the previous discussion, and I think it sort of helps both recap our previous discussion, but and also understand this. It was concerning a Quranic decree and also a hadith. Know that evil is from yourself and good is from God. Um, so from last week, friends shared that evil is representing something that does not have a existent reality. Evil being, again, a way of looking at something that is not grounded in the truth or not grounded within one's reality. It is rather, again, something that exists as a possibility, but does not exist in confirmation in the real or experienced world. And I'm not, if people want to sort of bring out that discussion from last week and relate it here, there is another avenue that is open. Because I know this is a common and an often discussed element of the nature of good and evil, why evil can exist, and so forth. Certainly, if there are things that caught your attention, please bring them up. It is it is quite a lot of information in this, and I want to be able to find things that, as I said, bring out some sort of fresh perspective. So, Dr. Ali, please go ahead.
Thank you. I think we studied and talked about this evil and good and evil previously, so I just wanted to share my thought about why the text says we have to go to the right side, which is the way of the Quran, and believe in God. Why? Because can we not derive the truth from the creation out there and using our own human values? Which is also true that the universe is full of meaning. Nothing is really meaningless, purposeless, and human feelings also are qualified to try to understand these meanings. Why do we need to go to the Quran and also believe in God? And we have to question again, why should we believe in God as well, in order to understand the meaning of this universe? So we should discuss this matter, I thought, by saying, we human beings are qualified to understand what the reality is when we are taught. But we cannot find out, for example, the purpose of the creation of this universe and purpose of my own creation. I can see my feelings telling me that I must have a purpose. But what is the purpose? As a human being now within the universe, if I just completely disregard the prophetic messages, it means religious side of the information, source of information, if I look at the world, what I can say, yes, it is an almost perfect, as far as I can see, perfect creation. Sometimes I don't like some things happening out there. It seems to be perfect, and everything seems to be within the purpose, acting for a purpose, arranged very well, but I cannot see the source of this arrangement. I can only conclude that the universe is working by itself. It is perfectly working as if really enormous, perfect machine, unimaginable, and the agent which is expected to arrange this perfect machine work for a purpose and fulfill the purpose in a very meaningful way is nothing but matter. I look into the matter if there is any quality in it, so that this matter can be the source of this arrangement of the universe, and also can be the source of my human qualities, because I am made up of matter as well. I must understand that if this is a machine perfectly arranged, if the parts of this machine cannot really arrange this universe as it is functioning now, I say my qualities, my human capacity says, then there must be an agent. That is why believing God is, as the author says here, the way of the Quran and believing God. Believing God is essential because it means here, believe in God means there is a conscious creator who arranged this universe and gave existence to it. There must be, but I don't know. I cannot see it in the universe, but there must be an agent, okay? Of course, we are here in this world. We hear that some people say this universe has a creator, and also this creator is not within the universe, cannot be a part of the universe at all, but the creator, the originator must be something not within the universe, not of the nature of universe. It means not like the universe which is arranged. Universe seems to be arranged because all its parts, it cannot have or don't have any free will to arrange themselves, don't have any quality to give existence to themselves, don't have any quality to arrange themselves within the context of the whole universe, so that the universe will work in harmony perfectly, as it does now, as far as we can see, of course. Our limitations, that's our experience, and we are responsible within the capacity or limitations of our experience. So as far as I can understand, this universe needs an originator, and this originator also need to convey the human inquiries. What is going on here? What is going on in the universe? What is going on in my existence? And how can I really satisfy my human qualities? Whereas the universe says itself, the universe says, yes, you are wonderful. Yes, you are perfect, but you will die and disappear. So I have to look for a solution that if this universe is meaningful in its existence, what I need to do, if it is meaningful in its existence, then I have to look for a meaning which is supposed to be provided by the creator of the universe, originator of the universe, and originator of my feelings. That is why when I hear some people saying that, look, the creator of the universe explained why he has created the universe, how he has created the universe, how he has created the human being, what is the purpose in the existence of the universe within this fleeting and temporary existence. This inquiry is really very human as far as my experiences is concerned. I need this kind of information which will satisfy me, not because the text says it is the Quran. I understand why the text says it is the Quran, because the author assumes that the Muslims are going to read this text primarily, and they are familiar with the word Quran. When I say the Quran, they know that this is the Quran, which represents the religion of God, which is well known among the people as Islam. So these people who submit themselves to Islam, it means these people are familiar with it, but we are here trying to understand why the Quran or any kind of revelation which is taught by the creator of the universe to human beings. So I have to pay attention to it and listen to it and see whether it is the message in it is compatible with what I learned from the universe, which I experienced within my own human feelings. Then I have to say this message must be from my creator, or if I am not satisfied, I would reject it. That is so simple, because the society I am living in, which is represented as the garden, they were these brothers were in the garden, so they fell into a well. That is the story. But in reality, this garden is the society, and in the society, we are given two options mixed with each other. That is interesting. Two options means the universe is like this. Enjoy yourself as long as you live in this world. But what is experienced in this world is that life is provided wonderful opportunities. We understand that the one who is providing all the opportunities for human beings to benefit from must be deliberately doing it. But on the other hand, there is an option for human beings saying that, oh, I don't want to take notice of it, just I want to enjoy myself for the moment, and then when I die, everything will disappear and go away. So, and I will be fallen into annihilation or complete non-existence, or forget about the life or any possibility after death. Why should I bother about it? So I have to come back to myself and make a decision between these two options, which is presented in the society wherever I live, because my perspective is always with me. I can take this perspective not because society offers me, not because the revelation, or the speech of God, revelation, guidance from God, guiding speech of God that offers me, but I have to make the decision which way I should take. Then the source will provide me the information, necessary information, to confirm it or not to confirm it. As I got from this paragraph, so look, it says. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ali. So one thing that I was thinking while you were talking was also that in both cases, or in any case, when we do look at something or experience anything, regardless of what we believe about it yet, when we are at first sort of just experiencing it or observing it, we are in that moment looking for the source of it, for the source of whatever that we're experiencing. So it's at that time that one can attribute the source to the matter, as you were saying, or to point it out to that must be the source because of the matter in and of itself exhibiting or having no capability of imparting conscious meaning. So even, let's say, in this example of these two brothers, they both, before even they've sort of decided which path they want to take, they know that there is something, there is a meaning there or there's something that some things represent to them, and it is only upon investigating or looking for the source of it, then they decide whether or not the source is, the matter itself or something else. So I thought that was maybe, if I understood it correctly, a finer point also, that it is within our nature, or and we're saying these things very conclusively also, but it is within my experience that I am in need of things to that I am experiencing meaning, whether or not I agree with it or not. It is there, but what is my need in experiencing that meaning is knowing the source of that meaning, but not just being satisfied at the level of the meaning. And it is in that source of the meaning that the source must then be communicated with, or I should be able to communicate, or sort of establish a relationship with it. And that's where I understood you introducing the idea of revelation, and that being a sense that needs to be confirmed by the source itself, and something that man on his own cannot derive by his experience in the world. What he can do is say, okay, all right, this thing that I am getting that has meaning must have a source, but I cannot sort of go on to understand anything more from it, from my experience alone, but rather that is the point where revelation is concerned. So, which brings me, I guess, to a very recurring element. Like, certainly, this parable is different from the one before this that we've read in one of the previous words. This one clearly has a lot more particular details. There are more concepts introduced, and so forth. But I do tend to notice that um, the key, or the fundamental point in these parables, along with the many details that all represent key elements of belief, is that what is at the center of man's experience in this universe is to get to know the source of what he experiences. Um, and then everything must follow from there. But to get to know the source is, though apparent, not only just for believers, but also someone who may not have established a worldview, is still finds a need in them to explain the source of what they are experiencing. So I hope I was able to communicate the fact that this was something that I feel like was reminded, or like sort of renewed for me in ways. Moving on. Let's see what else catches our attention. So I can start from here. Like, as for the deserts, it is the earth and this world, and the lion is death and the appointed hour. The well is man's body and the time of his life, spanning 60 years. And this, okay. So if I'm going to take this in sequence, one establishes that he must have things, he must be in communication with a conscious source that must explain to sort of explain to him the various things that he's experiencing, one of which being, or one of the main one being, that to come to terms with the limited or temporal nature of our being and death. So we have to make sense. We have, not that we have to make sense, but the end of time, the end of life, has to have a meaning that again is consistent with the reason why one is in need of the source itself. This also sort of comes again in this part where he'll talk. There's something about entering the door of paradise. That death is sort of entering, is a form of entering something. Is the mouth is a door and opening to a garden of paradise. So perhaps I'll ask other people for their thoughts on how do you make sense of the end of life being a door to eternity. In this case, what he's onto a garden. How do you make sense of the end of life as a freeing of yourself in the way that we've been discussing so far? So how do you solve this contradiction, given the parable and everything that's being related thus far? So if you have any thoughts. Dr. Ali.
Since no one talks, so I just want to join you and let you rest for a while. That is what, that is where we have to be very careful whether we feel the need for things. That is one side. Another side is, or how are we going to get it? For example, it is within me that I need shelter. I need heat or coolness, whatever, cool, and I need food, I need clothing, etc. That's what I know, I need. But when it comes to providing it, I cannot do it. What I found, the provision is out there in the creation. So it strikes my attention that who is, or what is the source of this provision for me, which perfectly matches my need. And I look for it again, I see nothing but matter. Yes, well arranged, but matter has no quality to arrange. That's what previously we talked about. So what I need now here, I don't want to die. I don't want to be ill. And I don't want to lose anything which makes me happy. I want to be happy. I am full of millions of different kinds of needs. I cannot list it even. But I cannot do it, and what is going to do it? Is it possible? For the food, I know it is possible in the universe, already existing universe, but I cannot explain how they are prepared by matter. It is impossible. Matter has no consciousness, matter doesn't know anything, matter has no will, matter doesn't recognize me. but something is going on in this world. The matter is arranged in such a way that something like magical or miraculous, which is not explainable within the conditions of matter only, matter itself. But something is going on there, and it is provided for me. How about my other human senses, which are expectations, endless. It's starting from very simple: I don't want to die. I don't want to be ill. I don't want to suffer. I don't want to experience anything which hurts me, my expectations. But the universe is silent, doesn't respond. That's why I need to investigate anything else that I can find accessible for me within this universe, so that this source will give me the answer, which we see that there are some people again who are called prophets or messengers, or those people say that, look, I'm not providing the answer for you. I'm just receiving the answer from the creator of the universe. And in this source, creator of the universe says, I am the one who made it. It means I am the one who is the source of existence of this universe. So I can tell you that I made you, and I am the one who is going to provide your expectations, human expectations, which you cannot really find it within this kind of creation. And I say, look, this sounds like my creator is speaking to me, because I know that everything is provided by the creator of the universe. The same creator must provide my human needs as well. That is why human logic forces me to go to this direction, and I have to listen to the prophets and get the news that yes, there will be a next creation. Although within myself alone, I was saying I need to continue my existence, but I cannot do it. The universe cannot also do it, cannot really continue my existence, but I am the source of need. Whoever created, gave existence to me, and gave me all these senses, must provide the answer to this. And I see the witnessing of the universe and witnessing of my own creation, that the creator, my creator, the creator of the universe, must be able to provide this because of the manifestations of his qualities in this universe, demonstrates that he can do it. And when I look at the message that the creator sends through the prophet to me, I see this message really promises me what I expect. Although, as far as the eternal life is concerned, or the life after death is concerned, existence after the existence within this universe is concerned, this message provides me a lot of examples that I have to pay attention to and drive a conclusion from them, and understand that the creator of this universe is promising, but matter cannot promise. Only the creator, arranger of this universe is promising through demonstrating the evidences. That's why I have to work together with the universe, my feelings, and the prophetic message, which they say we received it, or the prophets say, it is not my idea, it is the creator who revealed it to me and asked me to convey it to you. I'm just conveying it to you. And also I myself is really confirming this message and living by it. It means obeying and following the requirements of this message within myself. That is why our understanding of religion, our understanding of revelation must be very, very wide. Not only religion is not only do this and don't do that. Maybe it is what I need. That is why it is given to me, or it is taught to me in the creation. But much more than this, it is the answer to all my human expectations and give me the satisfaction under the witnessing of the universe, under the witnessing of my own human capacities. So three sources must work hand in hand and must conform each other. That's what we see in the teachings of the Quran. If someone says what the Quran teaches me, that doesn't make sense to me as far as understanding the purpose of the creation is concerned, then he is free not to accept it or accept it. That is up to him. But what we do, we look at the message, and mostly we don't study the message, but we look at the followers of the message who claim that they are following the message. And of course, they are human and they have a lot of shortcomings like me. So if someone looks at me, they will say, oh, the life of this man is not a good one at all. So I don't want to be like him. But we have to investigate the message itself, study the message itself, and see which kind of message I can get out of it, and how can I understand it, benefit from it. And then if it doesn't make sense to me, then think about whether to reject or to confirm it. But what we do, first we look at the followers of this message and see the shortcomings, human shortcomings, because human beings are given free will. Sometimes we follow, sometimes, or most of the time, we don't. Another mistake is, rather than looking at the message of the Quran itself, message of the prophetic teaching itself, what we do, only the prescriptions about do this and don't do that. And what we do, we bring our already existing values, which is shaped by the secular civilization, mostly, not everywhere, not mostly, really almost everywhere, according to the criterion we obtained, we learned from this civilization, we pass judgment on the proposals, if you like, that you should do this in life, apart from teaching the fundamental message of the Quran, but the practical life conditions. I say, oh, what the Quran says doesn't really match the reality of my life within this secular society, because we limit ourselves with the expectations or with the definitions of the society, and then look for the same result, conclusion from this, from the teachings of the Quran. That is very dangerous to approach the teachings of any religion as far as the practical do and don't side of it. We should take into consideration after we study and we understand that the general teachings of the Quran, which is the very 97% of the Quran, concentrates on how to understand, how to evaluate the message of the universe and message within human beings. That is all what the Quran talks about, except 3%. So 3% can be understood, and start this 3% start making sense to me after understanding the purpose in my existence and learning it from the Quran, then it fits. Why should I fast? Why should I pray 5 times a day? Why should I behave in this way or another way? And why should I do that? Why should I not do?
Dr. Lee, you got muted.
Yeah. So most of the time I experience in my life that I myself have a problem. I find myself in trouble when I don't take notice of the purpose of the creation from through the teachings of the Quran. And if it makes sense to me, if I don't take this perspective and then see and look and analyze, why should I fast? It's really this age, then I come to the conclusion that this age is a very specialized age, and there are dietary specialists. They can give me a better dietary according to my body. Why should I restrict myself only to the month of Ramadan and 29 or 30 days a year, and also whether I should follow this dietary plan or not? It's not prescribed. It looks meaningless because I take these actions out of its context and look at it only from my material body side of my existence, and it doesn't make sense. That is the trouble I find myself. But when I put it within the context of the purpose in the creation, which is taught in the Quran, which really matches my human expectations and perfectly and comfortably, I can conform it. I say, yeah, I agree with it. And then put this kind of activities, actions within the context of this understanding of existence, this understanding of the purpose in my existence, then it makes sense to me. That is why most of the time those people who consciously and deliberately fights or are in conflict with the religion of Islam for political and economical and other purposes, military purposes or something, weapon industry, the big business are going on there. So they don't want Islam to flourish. What they do, these people deliberately draw the attentions of the people by making argument about women's right in Islam. Look at the Muslim world. Women are treated as a second, third degree of citizens. What is it to do with it? Or which kind of perspective you have? That is why they love it. I'm telling you, all those people who are here, if you want to make a PhD study, and if you need some grant, scholarship, apply to a university which has this program, some sort of program related to it, and say that I'm going to study the women's right in Egypt with a specific reference to a certain quarter of Cairo. Oh, really? So how the people are treating in the environment, you will definitely get scholarship. Don't worry about it. Why? This is what really creeping into the minds of the people, diverting the inattention from this 97% of the teachings of the Quran and bring them to the really corrupt practice of the Muslim society as far as this particular matter is concerned. To me, that's corrupt relationship. because people say that I'm a Muslim, they pray, but at the same time, they don't really read the Quran, how the Quran really suggests that we have to behave in the society, how are we going to arrange our family relationship, what was the purpose of this kind of arrangements, of course, within the context of my consciousness of believing in God and my relationship with God and worshiping Him. These are all neglected part of it, and isolating it from all these realities that I have in my mind and putting it into a very naked discussion, which is not really put into right context, and saying that, you know, what are you going to gain by doing certain things that the Quran asks us to do? Why? Because the Quran is the speech of God. Oh, man, it is too late. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just lost myself in this discussion. Okay. Thank you. I think we were supposed to stop long ago. I'm extremely sorry.
No, Dr. Ali, thank you. Thank you for both participating and also letting us know of a good way for applying to PhD programs. Alia, did you have something to say?
No, I just wanted to thank you, Dr. Ali. I loved the detour, because the detour is at the heart of matters. Is the heart of the conflict with how we and our people that we love and our children live in this society, and where like our focus is pulled to at the wrong part of it. Like, instead of the focus being on what is the meaning, messages, like, the purpose of creation, like, through the Quran, our focus is on like, what are some people doing, like, totally. And I think we Muslims need to hear this more than anything. So thank you for bringing that. Jazakallah khair.
Thank you, Alia. So we'll, just start concluding and wrapping up the session. But in summation of much of what Dr. Ali was saying was that, if I'm putting it in my own words, is that what is Islam in many ways, if not the main way, is something that starts as soon as someone is aware of their being alive or existent in the universe, rather than something that is coming in response to non-contextualized experiences in the world, and something that is inconsistent with one's basic sense of reality. So, and that's how he was connecting the idea, of not the idea, but like what does death represent, and how was it connected to, the very understanding of one's being is consistent with what death represents to them, which is the ultimate fulfillment of man's needs, not a Muslim's needs, but man or a human being's needs. So with that, inshallah, we'll conclude for today, unless anybody wants to say anything. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dr. Ali.
For closing it, I'm not going to start any discussion. Just this class, we decided last week that we'll start at 11 o'clock and end around 12. So sometimes we go beyond 12, but we should be conscious of the time limitations, so present the case in as much as possible in a precise way, so that skews the whole discussion into 1 hour. And also, now it's this subject we studied. I think the 8th word is covered somehow, and we are next week going to study the 9th word, and the 9th word is about prayer. So ninth word is about prayer. What is the connection between them? Yes, we listen to the Quran. Yes, we are going to follow the teachings of the Quran in practical life, but we have to perform this relationship between me and my Creator in such a way that it will make sense. The universe start making sense in my own understanding, in my own feeling, within the context of me, the universe, and the Quran. So we are, inshallah, next week we will start from the ninth word. And also one thing, we need moderator for the following weeks. For example, next week we don't have any moderator assigned for it. Please be volunteer, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alamin.